hold on just a moment. July 22nd, 2021, and it is 3:05. This is a meeting of the Cultural and Environmental Learning Center Advisory Board. And I'd like to call this meeting to order, and let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and let's begin the roll call with Bill Grace, whom we've not seen in such a long time. Hello, Bill.
Hey, Bill Grace for the roll call, and I'm delighted to be here, seeing you
Delighted
guys
to have
again.
you here.
See you.
It's
Nice
great.
to see you.
It is.
Lori Wolf. Betty Simpson.
Sherry Smith.
Barbara Hill.
Seal Spula. Justin Geeson.
Hey, don't have anyone absent. See, Cindy left. Oh, yes.
Becky is excused absence, yeah.
Okay, she has an excused acceptance. That's
Good.
good. Okay, thank you. Approval of the minutes. I'm sure you've received the one from January 2021. Has everyone had a chance to review that?
I'd move the approval of the January 28th, 2021 minutes.
Thank you, Betty. Second with Sherry. I have a very minor correction to make on that last page. Where actually the first paragraph states, stating that she sent a thank you letter to the Crown Jewel authors, and she suggested that this be placed in the Lee County Libraries. We don't want the thank you letter to be placed in the libraries. We want the book to be placed in the libraries. So if you would just make that minor correction. So I would suggest saying she suggested that this book be placed in Lee County Libraries.
Where is that?
On the last page.
Last page.
On the very top.
Okay.
Any other corrections, additions, changes? There being none, may I have a vote to approve the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you all very much. We now have the public who we have invited to comment, and we have a couple of people in the audience. Anyone wish to say a few words? No? We'll move on then to the Friends of the Mount House, and we have President Ellen Vaughn here actually give a report about their activities. Thank you, Ellen, for being here. I know this has been a long time coming with canceled meetings and COVID, and so I appreciate your patience in giving this presentation, and great to see you.
It's good to see all of you, and happy to be able to be here. And because of the delays, there's more to say, right?
Well, there you go. Exactly.
So I'm here to report that the Friends of the Mount House continue to work in support of the Mount House. That we see as our primary. That is our mission. We are currently on summer hiatus from meeting. We had our last formal board meeting in May. We did have a special board meeting because we had a request for the Friends to fund the beer
Build and Brew.
Alcohol. So we held a Zoom meeting and we made that approval. So that's all moving along. And I can report that as of our May meeting, we had book sales of just shy of $3,000. Since then, we have gotten a check from, I should back up and say, I think you're all aware that the book was completed and delivered at the very end of 2019. And we have not had as much press as we probably would like to have, given COVID. Actually, it was 2020, I'm sorry. I will be the first. My brain still, having not had COVID, I still feel like I'm suffering from COVID brain, and the time frame for the last year and a half seems like it's some crazy world. And anyway, so the book arrived in November of 2020, and it is for sale at the Mount House, and Anita Saracita kindly has copies available at 2 of her stores. And since the books have been for sale at the Mound House and at Anita's stores, sales have not been overly brisk, but they've been reasonable. We expect that we'll be able to do some more publicity kinds of things that will generate increased sales when the world starts beginning to return to normal, which hopefully happens soon now. Post the just shy of $3,000 in proceeds from the sale of the books in May, we received a check from the Islander for the books that were sold both at the Islander and at Pier Peddler for just shy of $300. So we're on our way, and I think you all are aware that the Friends underwrote the production of the book, so we're in really good shape.
And I don't mean to interrupt, but the Mound House has bought 2 batches of books from the Friends of the Mound House, over $2,800 each. So
So this number I have is very ancient.
That's right, because we have done a second order because we sold out so many. So it was $2,800 and something 2 times that we have written a check to the Friends for the books.
So we're over $6,000.
Do you have a sense of just how many books themselves were actually sold?
Well, let's see. We can do the math. We ordered 1,500, and if we've sold $6,000 worth at $25 a book,
Okay,
can't do that.
don't have that figure in front. That's okay.
That's about right.
Just was curious.
So the book has been our sole fundraising opportunity during this crazy COVID time. As you might remember, we were scheduled to host the Artful Intersection a week after the world shut down. So and I probably should have brought it as a visual aid. We had our program ready to go. We were going to have the program distributed well in advance so that people knew what they could bid on and get it all ripped up. And of course, that got completely. And I'll just interject that all of the physical items that were to be available at the auction are living either at my house under beds or Gail Crabtree Pergoli's house under beds. And hopefully we will be able to get that rescheduled when the world comes back to normal. We are scheduled to begin meeting again on a regular basis in October, and I imagine that will be our highest priority on the agenda, is to figure out what kind of fundraising we can do for the Mound House moving forward. Have questions for me?
I have one question. Do you want to let them know what the Friends are supporting this year for our programs?
Yes, please. And I'm going to claim Visitor Brain, my daughter and her family are here, and I have Sandy feet because they're out currently parasailing, and I walked down from the Lana Kai to present here. So we are underwrite. Well, Allison, would you
Yes.
fill in for me?
So they have voted so far this year to sponsor the lecture series for $5,000. And then also to match wait a minute, that's reverse. See, I'm getting things reversed. $4,000 for the lecture series, up to $4,000. And then the Arts and Attractions grant is $5,000. So they are sponsoring so far $9,000 worth of programs and the marketing for.
Our finances are in good stead. Jim Steele does a marvelous job as our treasurer. And as you all know, we unfortunately lost our Dan Hughes, who was our resident parliamentarian. So he's a big void on the board, and we're going to have to fill his position.
Ellen, you know, this book of whatever I've given to people, they say to put, they've never seen a book that this size, that when you take off the cover, it's the same as the cover underneath. And I say, how do you like the book? I bet of the people I've given it to, 3 of them mentioned that. It was put together so well.
Yes.
So very well. I mean, it's something to be really proud of.
And I think once we can begin hosting in-person events, Pat has graciously said that he will make presentations. As you all likely recall, he did present at our annual meeting, which was in April at the Mound House, outside, socially distanced. And I think there are a lot of different things that we can do. We just haven't cemented any concrete plans at this point.
I had one of my real estate friends, a neighbor, and she took a group of books, and she said that when she put them in the gift packets when selling, and she said that people loved them. And it was so nice because it was something local. Oh.
I think the book will stand as well. I mean, when you think about the timing of the world shutting down and the book becoming available, that kind of will keep us floating along.
You anticipate a second printing?
Well, that is something that we could consider. Consider.
I would think that that would probably be happening within a year if we get the promotion and marketing up and running.
And that's something that we can certainly pursue. I know anyone involved with the project of producing the book was very pleased with the company that we worked with. Allison had put us in touch with. Very, very competent and very helpful.
I never knew until Dan told me, and you probably already knew, all the things that had to be the copyright, the legal things. And I did not realize that everything that was in the book that had to do with somebody had to be checked and rechecked, so that there could be no lawsuits. I never realized until this what was involved in putting out this book that we never thought of. You put out a book, and it's just fine. You have to be so careful of the legalities that are necessary.
And I'm so glad that you raised that, Seal, because I would like to point out that Pat had written textbooks when he was a faculty at University of Georgia, and his attorney, his patent attorney, did all the work needed on his end of it pro bono.
Oh,
Yeah, that of course is huge.
That was
And of course, Dan and his son did our legal work pro bono. So we had no expenses associated with that whatsoever, which is a massive amount.
It is a wonderful project, and I'm sure that it's going to continue to have great popularity, and I certainly can envision a second printing.
Thank you for, yeah.
I want to thank you, Ellen, and your board and the membership for Friends to be so generous with the time and the talent, not only of the people that have worked on that book, but the group in general. They've been doing a terrific job, and this coming year, with the goal of raising $9,000 to benefit the Mound House programs and events is laudatory, and we hope to be able to match that at some point, because obviously, when a community effort such as Friends puts their money where their mouth is, which in essence is not only what you're doing, but what you also have done in the past, it is the town's responsibility to weigh in and say, yes, we support that effort. So kudos to all of you. Thank you for all that you're doing.
And I will be certain to pass that along to all of the other board members
Excellent.
who are here.
Thanks for coming.
To be able to do so.
Before you leave, may I take just a moment to ask a question, and it has to do with the Friends of the Mound House. So,
Of course.
if that's okay?
Absolutely.
All right. We have rather sad news that the post office is going to be closing and on July 28th, which is next Wednesday. We have a box there. We do not.
What?
Yeah, at Santini.
The Santini.
At
Oh, I
Santini.
see, yes.
Oh, yes.
I
Oh,
was
I'm
gonna say
sorry.
that. You didn't say, I only know you.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
Santini.
mean, I just think,
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up, Betty.
Yeah.
So, and Betty, as a member of the board, has spearheaded that activity. And were you able to secure the same number for us at the post office?
no. You can't do that. It's a different zip code. I mean, we can't, because the question was asked of me if we could keep the same box number, which would be kind of nice. Well, they all have 4 digits, and we had 3.
Correct.
So we can't do that. My question is, and I hope that I'm not out of line in asking this in this, we receive probably 1 piece of mail every 2 months.
Oh, gosh.
Is there a way that we could have our mail go to the Mound House?
Betty,
Or-
yeah, we actually get some of your mail, and I often, we get it already, so I don't mind, because I pass it off. If it's to the friends for a check, I notify Ellen and Jim, so we kind of get some already, so I
Well, and
don't.
if you have something, I'd be happy to come by and pick it up and take it to the meeting or whatever you might need, but
Some people just write it to the Mound House, and it's for the friends.
is it
And also,
necessary?
they do 451 Connecticut Street, and the postmaster knows to. Oh, nice, because we don't get anything delivered.
That is certainly a logical step, of course. Makes perfect sense to me.
Okay.
I don't know that there's any, I'll check, but I don't know that there would be any, but I'll see if there would be.
Yeah, because when I went down there, they said, okay, what box number do you want? And I said, I think I have to bring this before our board, and so I didn't do anything with it.
Because we get mail now, and
don't-
they
I
know
don't
it's
think that-
mine, and I know where to put it.
The only time that we would have something is if we've got an event and a lot of people are sending something in. I'm sure that a couple of us would say, okay, give it to me, I'll have it come to me, I'll be happy to take care of it. I mean, whatever it is. So,
If we did not have to have a post office box, I think that would just simplify things.
Is there something, Bill, you may know this, when you do your, that form that's for the 501c3,
At the,
it took forever to get something changed with that recently. It was when you first got the, made the Friends happen. And there was some form that has members, and it has to do with the taxes, and I can't get the form number right, but you file every year with that.
yeah.
Does that affect this at all, Betty?
No,
Bill, that wouldn't?
no.
When,
I-
what's on the form of the address of the person? Because it used to be Dan Hughes's address, Randy Lane, forever.
Yeah, I recall that, and I think
Corporate report and give the directors addresses and,
Okay, but it
Name's
wouldn't
address.
matter if the mailing address was, okay.
or you just put what the mailing address is.
Yeah, right, okay.
But, as far as I'm concerned, from past experience, having that post office box, you need that. And it's only $60, so $60,
$73
$120,
every 6 months.
$60.
38. We've got a small box, $38. The new ones will
The
be?
new one.
Yeah, $73 every 6 months.
Wow, that's sizable. Sizable.
To me, it was
I don't
always
know.
worth it. 'Cause that's where everything went. Start coming to City Hall and maybe in
I don't get to sort my
Connecticut.
mail. But I get it, but yeah, I mean, something for you all to discuss for sure.
I think this is actually a friends conversation.
It is.
So I would suggest that perhaps, we'll support whatever it is that you choose to do, but that would be a meeting agenda item for you.
yeah, so we'll reconvene in October.
Yes.
And thanks, Bill, for your input on that.
Yeah.
And anything else for Ellen?
No,
No, just that she does a great job as
Absolutely.
president.
yes, she sure
Kind
does.
of you to comment on that.
We're fortunate to have her.
Thank you, Ellen.
You go enjoy your family.
Thank you,
I
Ellen.
definitely will. I think ice cream is next on the agenda.
Now, let the record reflect that Mr. Jim Anderholt arrived here at our meeting at 3:15, and we all had this traffic congestion issue. So welcome, Jim. I wanted to, for the record, tell our scrivener that you've arrived and you're here to help us.
Apologize for my delay, but this kind of traffic in July is
Ridiculous.
wonderful, but it's horrible at the same time.
Unbelievable.
It's crazy.
Agreed.
Yep.
Agreed. It's a whole new world now.
We should have lived downtown.
That's right.
Okay, so obviously they've got a very, the Friends has a very ambitious project proposal for bringing $9,000 in revenue to benefit the Mound House. Just wanted to clarify that. We're going to go to item number 7, Director's Report, Allison. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. I got to get a copy of the direct report. I don't have one. Okay, so this reflects 6 months of all kinds of wonderful things that we've been doing. So I tried to kind of categorize it by like facilities updates and some of our programming and some of our media, professional development, and some of our tours, as well as some of our special events and new programs. I did want to mention the flyer. We do have a symposium happening at Mound House in conjunction with with FGCU, University of Florida, and you have a program in your packet for that. So we actually got notification that they would like to partner with us for the next 2 years to be able to host this. So we're really excited about that. So that is going to be on August 6th at 2 o'clock. It is free, but we do require reservations, so we want people to call for reservations since we have limited space. Also in here, our sponsorship package that we have, which is kind of all depends on if the program, not the program, but the it's approved for the stabilization of the underground museum. We're very close to that. And have any news to share? Somebody want to share some news about the Lee Trust bill on this?
Yes. When we got the information on the sponsorships for the new video regarding the history of the Mound House and the Lusa Indians, I kind of checked in with my board members on the Lee Trust, and our board determined that we would be promoting that program to the extent of $5,000, which is a sponsorship level that
Nice.
program.
Thank you very much, Bill, to you and to the Lee Trust. That was really exciting. So Rachel Peacock, who will get in touch with you all as soon as she was out of town, she is spearheading this to find sponsors and additional, and already has one. So we should know within the next month how far the project is going to go. So I do believe that the Seminole Tribe have a meeting here in the next month to be able to let us know that if this project is going to be able to proceed. And we're really excited because University of Florida and University of Georgia, they have worked relentlessly on the application to be able to turn in for review. And so far, it's been very positive feedback about our message, about our programming, and about how we would partner with them with documentaries and different things to spread that message. So I'm really excited, and I am looking forward to them giving the final review of the application.
This is obviously a partnership having to do with a variety of cultural institutions that are whose mission it is to promote the Lusa Indians. Okay, but how many of those dollars go to the respective organizations? It just goes for the production of the video and the entire program, right?
That would be, I would have to get Rachel Peacock to do a breakdown of the cost associated to.
Okay.
I don't know that today.
So the bottom line is none of those funds necessarily come to the Mound House, even though their message is going to complement what it is that we provide at the Mound House, correct?
I don't know that either. I don't want to misspeak about.
Oh, okay. So you're just offering this as a sort of a FYI situation?
Yes, it's something in process. Rachel will have to resend that information to me. I do know in the past that when I was at another institution, we did get to sell copies, and proceeds were to go to but I don't know how any of this works, so I would have to talk to Rachel. But Barbara, this is just like the book and other things. I know everybody wants to make a lot of revenue, but it is an untold marketing. Just when somebody sees the book, or if you have a shirt that says Mound House, it is a ongoing, a wonderful thing for people to learn and to have. So it's educational tool, but also to help spread the word. Untold Stories has been really popular since the pandemic. Rachel was telling me, and I've been watching some of my favorites. So it is a really great time to be able to have people want to sponsor and contribute to the. I cannot remember the details of. I was part of several of them, but it's been so long. So I don't want to misspeak on
Okay.
where the proceeds go. I will find out from Rachel.
Didn't know the extent to which that partnership lies with regard to the Mount House and
If it's
specifically the
if it's
CELCAB.
the same setup as the Untold Stories, we wouldn't get any of the money.
Right.
That's an FG.
Production
Yeah,
and the
they're the ones
distribution.
that are raising the money and they spend the money.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
It is
benefit
actually an
from the-
FGCU initiative. It is their fundraising campaign
Right.
to support this. Okay, great.
They used to send Terry out to dun everybody for money,
Oh, Terry, right. He
Yeah, right.
retired. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
He did a
thank you.
very good job of
Did.
it.
He was magnificent, I will have to say,
He could reach into your pocket and
without you even knowing. Yeah, that's true. But also, Barbara, this is, like Bill was saying, it's a partnership, and you said, to collaborate with institutions to create it. So it has a lot of different advantages, I think, other than the revenue.
Right.
those Untold Stories are still, we did probably the first one 15 years ago. And they're still being replayed on PBS. In fact, the other day I went to get my hair cut. The guy that was cutting my hair said, "I saw you on TV last night." Oh, wow. And I said, "What?" I said, "I thought I'd been real good lately. I didn't think I'd do anything." No, it was the Untold Stories.
One of the documentaries. Yeah, they're wonderfully produced. I agree.
So the list is rather long and extensive. We did have our first visit for the underground, the AV, to improve the audio-visual for the underground. The contractor was there Monday mapping out. I'll keep you posted. They should be done in, the next month. So that will be an improvement. The improvement is going to be a larger screen, TV screen, with closed captioning, because we want to make sure that we have that. And then also improvement of sound, different systems, so it automatically loops every 15 minutes. Our visitor, what we've noticed with our visitors, it's 30 minutes is a little long. And they wait, so we're going to do the 15-minute loop, so it just automatically, it's kind of like our orientation video. You have the count, when it's going to start, and it'll just keep going, because the video is not even 8 minutes, and that gives you, time to talk or, and see. So we're going to try that out and see how it works. But it will not be anything like the computer system that is on, because that actually is so old, they don't even make some of the things that, it's lasted beautifully. If you think about it. It's been wonderful equipment, and I have,
Weather.
Will that same narrative be used, or are you doing an entirely new presentation?
No, the video is just going to a different TV screen in a different format.
Okay.
There's nothing changing other than closed caption, which it should have.
Okay, great.
It's the same video.
Wonderful.
Now, the wall and everything else, and so many people have asked me about the shells and things like that. When you're talking about any work on the wall,
No, we're not talking about any work on the wall seal.
I don't know where someone has said something about it or what. They said, "Are they going to work on the wall?" And they said, "Well, I said the shells have always been there.
Yeah, they
Nothing is happening. The wall's been there 2,000 years."
The project, when you looked at it, it would have benefited to take that wall back 20 degrees. That was in the original. But I really feel that the units that are so at risk right now with the constant influx of water, we are addressing that first. I don't even know if I just a little bit of even think about touching that wall right now.
I like the way you think, because
Yes,
that we don't know what would ever happen if that.
No, and I really, this is about the conservation of the archaeological record, and you all go in there, it's not anything what it used to be. And You know, once you get water and things start collapsing, then your information is gone. So it is to really try to create this wonderful project and a wonderful partnership with several, you know, institutions, with many institutions, and have this, you know, preservation, have it stabilized. So the information can get recorded and and it's not at current risk like it is. It's something needs to be. Wall is not in that project.
And the other thing is that I notice when people ask about the openings, you know, they just love it, that it looks just like people had been digging there, instead of being laid out like a plan or something to make it look neat.
Good, so they don't know.
I mean,
It's
I
supposed to look
really
neat.
think that your ideas about people are so interested in the construction that they see of how people actually dug there. I commend you for
We're
keeping
gonna
it.
start small, and we're gonna start with this project and see how it goes. And if we have further issues, but you know, it's always gonna move, right? It's earth, right? It's always gonna move a little bit. You know, it's always gonna do that. It's gonna fluctuate with seasons. It's the water that's coming up and down, and everything really moving really in a, you know, for the bottom of the unit, and to preserve that archaeological record.
And stabilize it to the extent that you can, given
Yes.
that, you know, which is far beyond our ability to control.
That's right. Mother Nature will continue
Exactly.
to.
I think what the wonderful thing is when people, you know, after they go in or when they first, they'll go, wow, I didn't expect this.
Yes,
Very much
that's
so.
true.
Very
Yeah.
much.
It's a real plus.
Have any questions about the director's report or anything? We've really plugged along. The staff has done really great. We've continued to offer programs.
We were asking for approval of the monies that we get on number, did that go through for the council?
That is,
That's what we'll talk about
that's
today.
on the agenda item 10. And there is an M&P workshop that the council has, their first budget workshop on August the 5th. They have not officially done anything with the budget yet.
That's one of our things to do today.
Okay.
Right.
She's ready to get to that. She's skipping ahead.
Thank you for an extensive director's report, Allison. Obviously, this is multi-dimensional in the sense that it went from February to June. So while we had normally been meeting monthly, the accumulation of all of her activities consolidated into this one report is a lot to read. So I hope you had an opportunity to look at all of the activities that, in spite of COVID, have been happening at Mount House. So keeping the fort operational during a tumultuous time at best is something that I think, Allison, you've done a really, really terrific job accomplishing. So thank you. Okay, any questions for Allison on the director's report in general? Okay, then we'll move forward to the strategic plan update for the Mount House.
There was one thing that I saw in the minutes, talking about Ellen with COVID brain. At the last one, we appointed Becky Warner for the liaison, and I was like, need to appoint, but we already did that. So the first one for Mound House, it's role definition, short-term goal number 2. We appointed Becky in the last one. So, that's it. So I'll correct that on the strategic. And a lot of things with our programming, because we didn't get to do a lot of the programming. You know, we are going to continue with that this year. It's going to be, instead of celebrating 100 years, because it would have been centennial for the structure last year, it's over 100 years. I just changed it to, because we're still going to be celebrating some of the things that was in the marketing plan last year. And Barbara, you helped with that for the arts and attractions. So, and, you know, VCB and TDC understands that, you know, we did marketing, but a lot of people didn't get to have our events, so we're hoping to be able to have those this year.
So is that, that funding that we received from TDC for that project is then just deferred now
No,
till
we
this
spent
coming?
it. We spent our money.
Okay,
Our money, but in the marketing plan, it is back again, the theme. Because we did it for our programs and we spent it, but, you know, the arts and attractions, they knew that with the programming, people were having to find different ways to promote because people were not able to promote they weren't holding all their special events and programs.
well, and you couldn't promote something that wasn't happening.
Right.
So if you couldn't schedule a program, there was nothing to promote. So I think everything is just sort of shifted. I think that
We did
certainly happened with
promote,
everyone else as
We
well.
did do a lot of social media campaigns for our kayak tours, because our kayak tours were really popular. I did have some things, I love doing the spring training, when the VCB asked you to be up in the booth at the Minnesota Twins. I got to do that virtually this year. A couple of years ago, I got to actually go up in the box. And it's like one of my favorite things. They were really hard at work still promoting the attractions, and we had several travel writers come, so they were still very supportive, and we utilized all of our marketing dollars, and actually the Friends of Mountain House just got refunded 100% because it was, instead of them giving you a check, they changed it like they do for the TDC grant, where you spend and then you get refunded. So they
Get
we
reimbursed
just
then.
closed out that grant for this past year, and on the 29th, I go to a TDC, an arts and attraction workshop, where the committee members talk about the grants, and I can field any questions at that. We're getting ready to decide. We should know in October, actually.
Right. With regard to the strategic plan for the Mound House, I understand that we need to appoint a chairperson.
Yes, so.
Work with Friends, is that on our agenda? I don't,
That was Becky.
So in the last meeting, in the minutes, we appointed, somebody
Becky.
appointed Becky. There is one, so that was the Friends. She was number 2. So number 3 is we need to confirm and appoint a new chairperson.
yes, maybe, my question is because it says in process, so, you know, then if a chairperson has been selected, would it not just say completed for that year, or?
Would, but we've had Rexanne, who was our first, we've had a rotating, so we've had to take people on and off.
Oh, I see, so it's ongoing.
It is, yeah. So I'll change that. And one is actually completed. So I'll change that one. We just need to do the number 3.
Okay, thank you. Just needed that clarification.
Now, there is a call for some volunteers as well. If you all know of anybody who would like to. Maybe it was in Newton. In Newton that I asked for a volunteer.
Well, I think with regard to, and to address what Seal was asking about, which is the agenda item number 10, which is our budget request for this coming year. If you look on page 3 of number 8 in terms of the long-term goal, you see that current and new programming, which is ongoing, and the revised programming to encourage visitors and return visits, both support these new programs that we're going to continue to move. Obviously, with the Zoom lecture, I don't know, we're going to be having to, you know, have that now as a long-term goal. That's really not a long-term goal any longer. So I would suggest maybe you remove that, where it says Zoom meetings. In other words, that shouldn't be a long-term goal, because we're hoping we don't have to have Zoom meetings anymore, that we'll actually have meetings on site and programs and activities on site?
Yes, we will, Barbara, but I will tell you that members that are seasonal really enjoyed having Zoom for the lectures because they could still stay connected with us, so we're going to try to do both.
Okay, you're going to do both
So
then.
I had feedback from my visitors and my members, and they loved being able to virtually be a part of that, and even asked if when we are on site and we have people attend in person, we could still stream it so they could still see it. Or we could have it on our website where they could go and view it again.
So if that's the case, are you going to be able to do that year-round then and not have a
Yes,
lecture
yeah,
series just during season? So then that increases,
Season though, hurricane season, and we may take a few months off in the summer. Yes.
which greatly increases our attendance, because
Yes.
when they sign up for Zoom, that's now listed as an attendance.
Is, and they're members. We have a member-only portal for that. So you're a member, you get to, so it's a really great way to promote our membership. We had some that were open to everybody, and then we had some that were exclusively for members.
Right, then, and I think you at one point had them as listed as volunteers activities.
That was open to all the public, help promote volunteers to come and join the team.
So is that going to be listed that way again, or are you going to list
We
it
haven't
just open
planned that
to the
out,
public?
but we are doing volunteer things, but since the pandemic, we'll be traveling, we have to do some small field trips, just around for the educational part of the volunteer training. Staff is coming up with a lot of new things for volunteers, so we'll definitely see what we can fit in.
So all of the new lecture series that the Friends will be sponsoring or helping to sponsor will be taped, videotaped, so
We're
that
hoping
they
to
could be,
offer it stream.
accessed. How would they be accessed on your website?
We do now with our Zoom.
Okay.
If you're a
After-
member, you can log in and you can see where we have recordings of past, and you can view it, or you can do live stream.
Okay, so any of those, because I've noticed with some other websites, like museums, for example, they will put that lecture on their website, and there would be just a direct link to be able to, Zoom it, but,
Yeah, that's what we have on ours.
Okay,
It's a link
fantastic.
that you click on.
Okay.
You can view whichever one that is on there. We didn't do all of them because we didn't have the module to be able to record. That
Right.
we had a few a few months of them before we figured it out and we could get the module to be able to record and then put the link on the.
how many do we have up on our website
I
now?
don't know, Barbara.
Maybe be like 4 or 5 or something.
Probably.
I think that's wonderful. I think that,
No,
that's
it's not
another
all of them.
huge, important new educational tool that we didn't have last year. As a result of the pandemic, we had to be resourceful, and this was the outcome, so.
And the members they really enjoyed it because they're not here in the summer, and we continued this after season, and then they couldn't come anyway. So,
Exactly.
and I love, if you all did any of them, you can ask questions and interact and chat and do things, and it was really great. It was you could be interactive even with the Zoom. I was thankful for.
Exactly.
The prehistoric animals were terrific.
By Dr. McFadden.
Yeah, that was a terrific show.
Anything else on the report of the strategic plan update that you want to address? I think
No, if you have any questions, let me know. Let me see that one, let's see. Okay, here it is. Let's look at Newton. So, I wanted to let you know kind of what we had programs, family programs on the beach. And they were not they were not a beach walk. They were different. They were junior explorers. It was for 2 to 5 year olds because we thought families on the beach. What staff has found out is when families are on the beach, they don't want to come off the beach and do a craft. They want to be on the beach. That's why they're there. They want to play in the water. They want to be on the beach. So it was a kind of an interesting discovery because, we're like, hey, well, come over here. And they're like, no, we want to
You
be in
come
the
over
water.
here.
We want to see what's in the water. We want to. So they're going to come up with something that we can still engage the audiences with, but like a beach walk, because beach walks are really popular. People love the beach walks because they're
it's
there,
wonderful.
they're here to explore nature and enjoy it, and they just have fun finding out what things are. We're really gonna try to tap into that and then see how people can know about them. Because we have no signage over there, we don't have anything that say, hey, at 9 o'clock, we're gonna have a creature feature from Go Touch thing, you know, whatever. We used to have that when Park was here, but, you know, how are we getting the word out to where they know? Our brown sign for our beach walks, I'm telling you, people find out about that, other than word of mouth. That is how they're finding out. We're gonna really try to reach our audience through creative advertising to let them know what's offered. And so, but yeah, it was really interesting because at the beach, they want to enjoy the beach. So let's just embrace it and have them learn about that and engage them that way instead of trying to take them off the beach. It's not worked.
It didn't work.
It did not work. So we thought that that was a really interesting, and then, you know, bocce ball players do not like to play in that sand. They like lawns. They like something a little, even though it's a sand that packs, you know, this is not taken off. So what are we doing with that? What are we doing with that little area that never gets used where the bocce ball courts are? And then we have, the Marine Research Task Force has had several pop-up events that they've had to educate people about conservation and different things. We've had them at the Roundhouse and at Newton Beach Park, and it's been wonderful because it helps us fulfill some of our strategic goals. So that's been really great. And yes.
Can I comment on that?
Yes, go right ahead.
If I may, Barbara, I wanted to talk a little bit about Newton Park and this bocce ball issue. For whatever reason, we're either running, biking, or whatever. We're at Newton Park probably, my wife and I, probably 3 times a week normally. And we spend a lot of time in Newton Park. It's a wonderful park for so many different reasons. And the bocce ball courts, we've been in town now for about 4 years, and again, Newton Park on a regular basis. I have never once seen anybody use the bocce ball courts. Having said that, the bocce ball courts are wonderful. They were very well intentioned. It was a great idea, I'm sure, at the time, but they just, for whatever reason, have not taken off. So last meeting, or maybe it was 2 meetings ago, I wish I could remember who, somebody on this panel came up with an idea about swings of a certain type. And I thought about that, and I thought, and I can't get that out of my head. And so the light bulbs have been going off, the bells have been ringing. I've done some research online. When you envision Newton Park, it's such a unique park. A lot of people love to sit there. As everybody knows, there's a little seawall there that takes you up maybe 2 or 3 feet. So the park, most of the park itself is elevated. People love to have their lawn chairs and have that view of the ocean at that elevated state. And for whatever reason, that draws people there. And they love to be, even though they're not as close to the ocean, they like to have that elevation. They're close to the restroom. And it's just a great place for people to gather. That bocce ball space, I wondered, I sent Allison some pictures of, they have some really unique swing sets now. They're very architecturally interesting. You can either have the individual ones or you can have the bench. You have to design the bench in a way that nobody could sleep on it. And obviously we have liability issues. We have the issues with homeless. But at the same time, imagine if you have that, you're on that elevated dynamic of Newton Park and you're facing the ocean and you're having a gentle swing, not a crazy swing where you go way up and down, but just a gentle rocking back and forth while you're watching the ocean. I think that would draw a just tremendous amount of people there. And you could have an adult swing and you could have a children's swing. So you could have a little bit something for everybody. And I remember Allison said something about whatever we do, there has to have some kind of a movement or exercise component to it. I thought you said that.
It's the Florida Communities Trust Agreement, some kind of passive recreation.
So when you're working a swing, you are moving. I mean, you're moving at a different rates depending on what type of swing it is. But these new swings, they're designed in a way that, again, nobody could sleep on them. They're obviously, with all the litigation these days, you can't be, they're pretty safe. You could put a surface underneath to make it even safer. But some of the designs, and maybe Allison, you could send that picture around from the Washington, D.C.'s redone their wharf. They have these really cool, innovative swings that are on there. And I also thought too, again, if you're on that swing and you're swinging out, you're over the ocean at sunrise, sunset, and even during the day, people they love to swing, they love to move. And even if it's a glider type dynamic as well, that could be really interesting. So the other dynamic about this too is that I've heard people at council meetings and at just various correspondence that I've had. I know Jane Plummer talks about it a lot. there's very little playground equipment that's available to the community. And so we don't need playground equipment there, but if we had, again, a nice adult swing, maybe a bench swing that would work, and maybe a swing set for smaller kids. You've got an activity for people to bring their grandkids or their kids over, and they could swing, watch the ocean, see all the activity on the beach. And I think, too, it could be, I think you have a potential sponsorship opportunity there. There's as everyone knows, there's a huge condo complex right across the street next to Publix.
Oh.
Imagine if, and I have a friend who does the newsletter for that condo complex. Imagine if they put in an opportunity for sponsorships, and they could put it in their children or their grandchildren's name. You have a little plaque next to the swing set, and they could have some ownership of it. Every time their kid or their grandkid comes to visit, they see their name on the plaque or something like that, where we could get those swings going. Again, I wish I could give credit. I don't remember which one of you came up with this idea, but I've been stewing on it for the last few months, and I just wanted to maybe put it on the table for discussion, and also maybe, again, we don't have to do this today, but I want to maybe incorporate it in the longer term plan, assuming everybody's comfortable with the concept, so we can begin to think about location, cost, liability issues, and have our attorney take a look at it. And there's a lot of different websites for playground equipment, and obviously it would have to be a commercial grade, but some of this new artistic, really innovative stuff is really could be clever and interesting. So that's enough. I just thought I've been thinking about that ever since somebody made that comment, and I think it would be spectacular at Newton Park.
Great.
And I think you're brilliant. That particular model that you are sharing with us video, through Allison's phone is beautifully designed. I've not seen a swing set like that
I never
ever.
had either, yeah.
And that would be, I think, a huge addition to Newton Park. And I'm all for investigating whether that's a possibility for us.
Wonderful.
And on that bocce court site seems appropriate to me. So I'm all for moving forward. I don't know that needs a board action, maybe a consensus. I'm not really sure, Allison.
Be good to have some
We
support
could
on that. That is recommended by
encourage
CELCAB.
staff to research the possibility of having the swing set, such as Jim has recommended through that image that we just saw. So, and if everything works in terms of coming up with budget or, addressing the liability issues, as you suggest, I'm all for it. Would all of you agree?
Oh, definitely. That's an excellent idea.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I would yield to Allison to see if there would be grant applications that would be germane to that particular
Find out.
dynamic too, but the sponsorship opportunities, I think, could be really good.
Terrific. And people
Well,
love that.
it's interesting that you talk about that unusual dynamic of having that raised elevation from the beach. What I think the appeal is that it sort of, you kind of think about the fact that maybe it's your house, because the house is a little bit elevated from the beach. You envision yourself, oh, this is my house now, right? Because I'm elevated, I'm in the house, I'm looking out over the deck or the porch or something,
yeah,
looking
yeah.
out over the Gulf. And what a perfect vantage point to be able to have a swing set, like a porch swing like you would have in a home to really enjoy that view. Great idea.
Thank you. It was if somebody's idea up here. I've been germinating on it. Yeah.
He's trying to make sure.
Well, and I think we can certainly, think of other options as something for that bocce court, but unless you all have something, and maybe that's something we can, maybe look at as to, and I agree with you, bocce's sort of come and gone, nobody uses it, nobody that I've ever seen has used it either. So, great idea.
I'll talk with Allison a little bit more about it, and we'll kind of, I think it's something we don't have to do that tomorrow or today, but it's something we can begin to kind of strategically plan for, maybe.
And maybe when the minutes are being done, or there can be that image that can be placed so that for future record keeping, that, we can refer to that image that Allison showed us the photograph of.
I would encourage the committee, though, next time you're at Newton Park, to walk around, get a sense of where you think where it makes sense to place those and where it makes sense not to place those, and just begin to kind of think about it as well as your next time you're there, get a better flavor of it, because you have to kind of walk to get a sense of what the view would be, how far back it would need to be, and so it would be
Well,
interesting.
yeah, and also keeping in mind the actual boundary of the historic cottage there, you
yes.
know, making sure that the historic component of that message is going to be left intact. I didn't really see it, and I'm sure it's here somewhere, but, with regard to rentals, Allison, and weddings and, opportunities for events that would generate revenue, is there any change to what we already have in our strategic plans?
As far as, well, the pandemic, nobody's wanted to rent the property.
Right,
But the VCB staff that does sales for destination weddings and things like that did come out to the Mound House and visited Newton Beach Park for the smaller venues, so they have never even been here. And so they came out to see the venue. Newton Beach Park had a few inquiries, but, you know, people just, I think we had a birthday party outside. We've had just tiki hut rentals, nothing on the inside, since the pandemic. Oh, and nothing on Mound House actually either. We are actually getting some inquiries about small weddings, in 2022. The Mound House, I'll keep you posted if any of those.
is there any plan to promote, like actively promote those as
That's
potential?
what we're doing with the VCB.
PCB, okay, that's
You-
included
You
in
should
that.
look at the VCB wedding venue and what they do to promote destination weddings, because
Okay,
many
great.
people come, of course, to the beach to get married. I mean, our venue is small, it's not gonna cater to everybody, but I think it would cater, especially Newton being on the beach and having the facility, huts, and so that's a great location, and then also Mound House is a private venue. So they came and saw, and they know exactly what we have. Also for like events for VCB and smaller events that they host, I'd really like to get people on the property because they you know, have never visited. So VCB does several things that they do within their staff, and just having small events that they have. Hopefully we can host one of those. The airport volunteers will be coming out in October, November, a FAM tour. We try to do that as much as we can because the volunteers at the airport, people are always asking what to do in town, and while they're here. So it's a great way to cross-promote our facility too. So also something interesting on TripAdvisor, you all should go and see our ratings on TripAdvisor and Google. We really went up. We're number 7 of 195 things
That's
to
just
do.
phenomenal.
Isn't it?
And also
Yeah, I
Newton
know, I
Beach
check it.
Park.
Yeah, that's neat, yeah.
Newton Beach Park beats the Mound House by 0.1 point on Google Business.
Bill's not loving it.
Same. But it's been really great. You all should look at our social media. So many people just Google things to do. And that's how they're coming to us, is because word of mouth, or they see that we get good reviews and we have family-friendly things. We have one family that's been on the beach. They're staying for just a couple of weeks, and they've been here at least 3 weeks. Got a membership. They've been on 3 kayak tours. They've come to like 2 programs. They're on another kayak tour. I mean, it's phenomenal. And they are they have 2 kids that one of them is really small. The other one could go on the family fun. So just different ages, like a family of 4. They're taking advantage of all the things that we're doing. And it is so wonderful to see the families coming into town and buying the membership and coming to the Mountain. We know all their names. I mean, it is wonderful.
That is so
They're going to be there
awesome.
tomorrow again on another kayak tour. So they're really taking advantage, and it's so nice to see because people are staying here longer, and the families, our audience is younger this year more than ever in the summer. To welcome. Right.
I think we're getting younger residents who have now bought on the island than we've ever
Really,
had
it's
before as
really
well.
great to see though the families and just wonderful. And we're very steady for some.
Thank you for that, Allison. Are we up to date now with the updates on both the Newton Park and the Mound House? very comprehensive programming for both. So thank you for that, Allison. Moving forward to number 10. As you recall, we have this budget that we have on an annual basis. It allows us to give a request to our town council for funding. And in the past, we've had about $5,000 that we wanted to, that we were able to utilize. I think the last few times we've done that as a matching for the Friends. And we want to, I believe, think about doing that again this year. One request that I have is that I think it's time that maybe Ellison can be a part of Leadership Lee in Lee County. You know, I found out that she's never taken a Leadership Lee
kidding.
class.
Oh, that's a terrific course.
Right?
Yeah.
It is. Right. So I did some research. It's only $900 from, it used to be like in Naples when I did it for Collier, it was like $1,200, but that's very reasonable. So I would like to take maybe some of that money and, you know, put that toward you for next year.
Oh, yeah.
2022.
Definitely, yeah.
And I think the other request that we have is to match funding for the Friends with regard to their lecture series. So we're looking at maybe a request for $9,000 rather than the $5,000. And we're hoping that that would be something that we could ask council to provide. Obviously, professional development is very key. That's never in the town's budget, obviously. But again, matching grants to support what the Friends is doing, and that organization, I think, is deserving of our support. So matching funds to whatever it is that they're doing. Now, their goal is $9,000, so obviously, we can't put all $9,000 in, but we're hoping for as much as we can get.
So Barbara, I wanted to show you all the sheet that I prepared.
Yes.
Because out of that, I know Barbara had the professional development, but in the strategic plans that were approved by town council in 2016 for Mound House and 2019 Beach Park, there are goals and objectives that actually have dollar signs behind them, that we need a little bit of money starting out in extra in the budget to be able to accomplish. So I wanted to line item each and every one. So anybody who is wondering about, wow, what would that request be going towards? So you can see all of the things, and some would not even cover, like the touch kiosks and educational museum components. That's not even, you know, we may be able to get an estimate on that, but that wouldn't be in, that's not in the 9,000. The traveling exhibits and changing exhibits, that's not. But this is something to be able, because as the strategic plan was approved, it is part of my job with staff to be able to achieve this. So this is the constant process of the cost of to be able to achieve some of those. So that is, I wanted to know every, and I have it flagged on mine. I have what page number it is, what goal it is, and what it relates to, and then I've listed the goal.
Any questions for Allison with regard to the, and we're all aware, I mean, obviously, it's now going to be in November 6 years that we've been open to the public for the Mound House, correct? And so there's been the initial programming that's going really well. We've had repeat reporters coming in and taking advantage, as you mentioned with that family, a number of times. But it is crucial for any institution to grow their programming, expand their programming to ensure repeat visitors, right? So if you have the same programming done every year without any new programming to be added, people are going to say, well, I've been there, done that, and they're not going to come back. So it is important to remain vital and current and exciting in terms of what we can offer in the years to come. And so part of that new programming goal is to achieve that, ensuring the revenue continues with our admissions and our attendance.
Right, and I'm just going to add to that, Barbara, a little bit. New programming, as we've done in the past, like we had our Junior Explorers for going on 3 months now. Oh, little itty bitties on the beach. So we will not be continuing that program. We will try to remarket it maybe to homeschoolers or to parents that have small children or something, and maybe we do it on the Mound House. So this is to try new programs and put the money up to be able to get the supplies and the educational and try it out, monitor, see if it's going to go. Like our family fun kayak tours, popular. Those are just going to continue. That is probably one of our most popular. Our sunset full moon kayak tour. Doing our little spooky Friday the 13th. Halloween. We're doing it in the morning because it's summer and nobody wants to be on the water with mosquitoes and thunderstorms in the those kind of programs to launch them, and it takes a little funds to do that, and then see what happens. What is the revenue? Is this something that we're serving our visitors? Are we effectively serving our visitors? Because that's really what it says in that strategic plan, is to try them out, see how we're effectively serving our community. Are we? Is it something they want? Something, and we survey and track, and then we move. So we're still in that initial, which I think is very exciting, and the initial development phase of new programs, because I think we still have lots of
potential for new programming.
Barbara, could I ask a procedural question? I know you're about ready to recommend the 9,000. I just wanted to ask Allison, the council's not taken on the budget yet. We will start that process in August. Have you internally, Allison, already submitted this to the town manager?
Yes.
Internally?
Absolutely.
Have you submitted the 9,000?
Yes.
Okay,
Actually, I submitted 10.
Okay.
That's what I was going to ask for.
The manager is trying to wrestle with all the various challenges that's been incorporated into
Yes.
there. Okay.
And this is the add-on. This is the add-on of the advisory boards, which will be listed all separately for the council to be able to, so it is separate. It is listed as a match for the Friends.
As you've had internal discussions with your leadership, did you get a sense that there was hope?
Yes, I did.
Okay, good, all right, that's
did.
helpful. I just wanted to get a sense procedurally how far this has gone internally.
Never bring it here.
Oh, beautiful, no, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love
I
it.
did my homework, yes, thank you.
Good girl.
And I really hope there is support. I do have support from internally, so I really hope that this is something that,
I'd be very surprised if there was not support.
we'll see, but yes, I made sure that it.
Well, and actually, that works really beautifully, because if we're going to do a match for the Friends with the 9,000,
extra nine,
then
that's
the extra
an extra.
900 to go for your Leadership League,
Yep.
we're going to request 10.
There you go.
Absolutely. Boom. All right? So, excellent. Any thoughts about this? Because we're going to have to have a motion, so I'd love to entertain a motion by one of our advisory board members.
I would like to move that we request $10,000 as our advisory board request to the budget for next fiscal year for the items that we've already discussed.
Thank you, Lori. Is there a second? Patty? Any discussion, issues?
I just think it's a
All in
great idea.
favor?
Aye.
No one is objecting, so that motion is passed. Thank you very much. And yes, this is a recommendation by our CELCAB members to town council to consider this $10,000 request for our programming. Under cultural resource.
Excellent, just for historical purposes, last year, the ask was 5,000, is that right?
We didn't have anything.
Okay, that's.
I think it would have been at least 2 years. I'd have to go back to look, but it's been a couple of years since they've put a request in.
I'm just
Or
trying,
maybe it was for the National Register. See, I forget. I have to look. I'd have to
just
look.
curious of the history. but-
Right.
I think it was they put some for the National Register event years ago that council, can't remember. I don't know, I can't.
That's all right, I'm just
But I
curious.
do want to clarify, the Friends group has already allocated the 9,000. They have it. They've already voted for it, so they don't have to fundraise for it. They've already voted and said, thumbs up, this is what we're doing. So that is finalized with them already. Because we needed to know about our lecture series and just they wanted to fund this year. So they, and then the arts and attractions needed to be able to have that for the application, so they've already voted for that.
All right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Board member items. Shall we start with Bill? Even though I know you're not officially a board member, as our historical advisor, are there any items you would like to add to the conversation?
I don't think so. I think y'all pretty much covered everything.
Hey, thank you, Bill.
Just would like to express my happiness to be here and seeing all you guys again, and look forward to it in the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right,
I'll repeat what Paul said. It's so nice to be here and to maybe start getting back on some sort of normalcy and moving forward with some momentum again.
yes. Ready?
Feel the same way. I mean, when I went and looked and it said that we were correcting the minutes from the last meeting and that was in January, I thought, holy cow, this is July. And it really is almost August. And it's going to be Thanksgiving and Christmas. And this year is gone. So I would like to see that normalcy continued, so long as we have a subject that we need to get together. And I kind of think we have to leave that a little bit to Allison, because she's aware of the issues that might be coming up. She needs a little bit of support. I think it's important that we try to meet, if not on a monthly basis, maybe at least on a quarterly or something.
Absolutely, Betty. Say that 6 months was a long time.
Well, actually, and that was unprecedented. During the entire time that we've ever had CELCAB, never was there a time that we went for a full 6 months. So I think we all began to feel very strange. I know I did too. I said, wait a minute, is there even a CELCAB now? Or what's going on with the Mound House? It was disorienting, wasn't it? Yes.
And we do have one vacancy, so I hope that we're going to.
Somebody has applied, actually.
Oh,
Nice.
we do have somebody?
Ellen Vaughn has applied.
I was gonna,
Wonderful.
I was gonna push her.
Oh, great, great.
Excellent, and she's here
The
full time.
clerk just brought this in, so she's the only
that
one
would be
that's applied
great.
for it yet, so.
Wonderful.
I didn't hear, I don't know her. Would you say the name again,
Ellen
please?
was just
Vaughn.
here.
Oh, Ellen. Oh, our Ellen.
Good.
Oh, my God, Ellen.
Yes,
Perfect.
Fantastic.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Oh, yeah.
so she's
Okay.
applied.
They say that friends in the organization, you know, we've been on other things like on CELCAB, where we had some friends and then they weren't able to continue. You start out with a great deal of enthusiasm, and if that momentum doesn't continue, it just kind of goes by the wayside. And so the comment was made, well, gee, can you have members of our board still be members of the Friends? And I said, holy cow. I mean, look at CELCAB, what we've done with the Friends of the Mound House. So, yes, indeed, we can work with the Friends. So that would be great. So I would like to see us get together, but for a reason. So, thank you.
Sherry? I would like to come, we were talking about new programming. And when I worked on Saturday, the night before, Adam and Dexter had the Build and Brew.
First one ever.
First
yes.
one ever, and they had like 11 or 12 people. And everybody had a ball. They loved it. They loved it. And it was so interesting that almost, I don't know, there must have been 8 people, 7 or 8 people that came back that had been at Build and Brew, came back on Saturday and took the 2 tours from the guys. Yes, they were just so enthused, and they would take one tour, and maybe that was all they're gonna do, and they go, nope, I'm gonna take the 2 o'clock too. And I think that's really, really a place to really explore.
Terrific.
And everybody, like I said, it was enjoyable.
It was a great event, Sherry.
And the next one is, pottery.
Yes, August 20th.
Right, so I think, and we're talking
August
about
20th.
marketing it too, and now we may have another newspaper, but if we can get it, and I said, get it right before, so it's right in
Well,
people's minds.
Yeah, the thing is it's funny you mentioned the marketing. 15 was our max. We can't fit more than 15 in that room. And we had 11, and we didn't really, we had some, so I'm expecting it to be,
It'll be full.
and then also offering it as a little private event for people. I mean, get 15 of your friends together and go and have a little.
Exactly.
So I think there's a lot of potential with
Yes.
that, and it's intimate enough to where people can really engage with the interpreters and get to know them. And I was so proud of them for coming up with it. So
Yes,
I
yes,
think
they're
a
very
lot of potential
successful.
to
Yeah, and the group that came back on Saturday, they all knew each other, and it was,
Oh,
it was,
very
it was
cool.
just really, really, talk about building something, they really did. So, I just wanted to
Thank you for
shout out to both of them, and they're enthusiastic about it too.
Oh, that was
So-
good.
So it's great. And also, we're busy. It's amazing.
It is.
Amazing, the people that are coming in, and the families, which I
Yes.
like, so.
I don't think we should have any problems with our jumping in either on Facebook or Instagram to really promote the Mound House and the
Right,
activities that
right.
are happening there, because that's, again, a great marketing tool that we all as individuals can do to help
Exactly,
promote
exactly.
activities and attendance.
Absolutely. We're trying to get our visitors to do that as well, to review the families that are coming in, tell people what your experience was like and what it would be appropriate for. Because I know a lot of families look for family-friendly things, and if somebody from an age group, they're like, oh, well, maybe that would be good for our family with that age group.
You know, like there's the group page, Facebook group page, the best of Fort Myers Beach. And somebody's always saying, well, what can we do, you know, when it's raining, or not when it's raining, but when they're tired of the beach. And I always chime in, go to the Mound House, take the kayak trip. I mean, I'm always posting something.
Nice, thank you,
And
Barbara.
it's gotten really favorable. Oh, I never thought of that, you know, and the fact that, look, you don't have to leave the island. That's the best part. You know, people were suggesting, oh, go into town, or, I said, no. You want
stay
them
right
on the island. That's the point, right? Oh, definitely.
Great, thank you.
Oh, what is your?
Well, what has really appealed to me lately is that when you're there, and, you know, I'm sitting at the underground, and then people go in, but when they come out, or just the walkers, people that have different needs that are handled at the Mound House. For instance, the man who recently lost a friend. He said he went out and he felt so much better because they had always visited at the pier together, or sometimes they fished. And he said, I come back here, and when I'm sad, but when I'm here, I'm happy. Right there is something that just warms your heart. Or the things that people say, we'll meet at the Mound House. I don't know where to meet them, or something with a car, and we'll say, well, let's meet there at 5:30 or 6 o'clock. That property used as a park, as well as historic place, has comfort for people, has joy for people, and somebody said, our children can run around. And so I just think there are so many things that you just don't even realize of the needs of people that live here or that are visiting. And it just, to me, that is just a haven and a beautiful place, but it's just, the house itself is just wonderful, but the atmosphere, that's what's a lot to do.
Signed up for it, though, right there, Seal, right there. The potential within the property is really wonderful.
It really is. Thank goodness. I mean, when you kind of think of it all those years ago, about the saving of it, is I hope sometimes there's a program or something that is put together of the people that now live here do not realize how it was saved. You know,
What it
we
was
had
saved
that
from,
crazy,
that's
and we
right.
had that crazy film, that
Oh,
plane.
exactly.
And a lot of people, but there ought to be some program of how it was saved. Together with a little humor and spice, you know.
Why don't you plan that, Seal? That'd be part of the
There
100
you go,
years.
right?
We got that.
I think we have a volunteer.
Yeah, right.
Mrs. Lloyd. I'm looking for it.
Councilman Jim, what do you have to report?
We're just from a technical standpoint, I was looking at the minutes from January 23rd, and I was in attendance, so I just want to keep my perfect attendance going. If you could tell the Scribner that I was in attendance. But more importantly, just wanted to mention to Allison that as we enter this, we're really going into a slow news cycle here on the island. And so the program that Sherry just talked about, if you have an opportunity just to call Nathan from the Observer and invite him to the program, you're going to get a great story on that program. And he's got a lot more time. He's hungry for news stories.
Oh, great.
Things are really slow right now in the news cycle.
You bet.
And the people who taught that class or that program, if you wanted to get them on Beach Talk Radio,
Right.
that would be very entertaining, and it would just draw so much attention to the Mound House.
Exactly.
And Ed's looking for guests right now too, because we're getting into the slow summer. Just the content's a lot slower, so those are great opportunities for the Observer and for Beach Talk to get these folks involved.
Great.
Trust me, they're looking for content right now,
great.
so it's a nice time to call them when it's quiet, because they're really looking for story ideas. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Jim, that's great.
Thank you.
Great idea, too. So my report is that I've brought mangoes for everyone. My mango tree is just about wrapping up. So there are 2 bags over there sitting on the chair, and I think there'll be enough for 2 for everyone, if that is something you would like. So my gift to all of you, the tree
Thank you.
did a
Thank
great.
you. It's right.
It produces a lot of mangoes every year, but, you know, this year is especially good. Anyway, so I have nothing more to report other than that. And to your point, Betty, let's think about quarterly meetings. I like that idea. And I, for one, felt the way you did too, is like, okay, well, you know, if we don't have meetings, what is the point of CELCAB? And, you know, to what degree are we going to become further and further removed from the activities that happen? And I can see that's a very slippery slope for me. If everybody's really super busy with everything else, all of a sudden, you're no longer thinking of CELCAB. So I'm hoping that we can get back, now that pandemic is hopefully over, and get involved and get interested and excited about the new things that are going to be happening come season. So, absolutely.
The next meeting date is the 4th Thursday, right? We usually meet.
August 26th?
If you want to do quarterly, it would be October 28th. Do you want
I
to
think
do?
October, although I really do like Jim's suggestion, and I don't know how much of a hot button item that might be, or maybe it's just premature, because we have to check, what the budget would be, what the litigious issues might be. So perhaps it would be like not a budget item for this coming fiscal year, in terms of that conversation with your M&P meeting, but I sure would like to have that pursued actively. And if maybe October is going to be fine, because
do
by that time, the
August?
budget will be done. I'm sorry?
You want to do in August to see after, when the budget has been submitted towards, do you want to do before October?
Do you think we can address some of the issues, or is this just too much too soon to move forward with Jim's idea?
The swings?
With the swings, yeah.
Can look into it and get a status report for you and report to you.
By August?
Yeah, but it would just be to research and see what grants or funding's available. Yeah.
I wanted to give the committee some time to think about it. Next time they go to next time they go to Newton Park, get a sense of what they thought. But if we could, if there's money in the budget, I mean, that would be great, but we'll have to see with this request that we've got already.
Exactly.
I don't want to jeopardize the
You know,
request that
and,
we have
and,
already.
and, yes, I mean, I'm sharing your enthusiasm, so hence the, opportunity to maybe have that as a budget conversation. However, we're already asking, the ask big time this year, so perhaps that might be a conversation for us to have as we continue the research and
It's
as
good to-
we
it's
all
good.
kind of look again about, what the options are. But,
It's good to set the table for next year. Plus, I do think there's an opportunity for private dollars. I can really see people in these, particularly the condos right across the street, wanting to have their grandchild or their child's name on a plaque and then contribute to a swing set. There's nothing like that on their property, and they could just go across the street, be part of the ocean, the beach, the Newton Park, and then have a swing set there that they could be part of and sponsor, and maybe we
Right.
could get a lot of private dollars. We may not even involve with Allison's grant writing ability and with the ability to maybe raise private dollars. I don't know that Mound House has Friends of the Mound House. I don't know that Newton Park, do they have an entity to receive contributions?
Well, I mean, the Friends is just for the Mound House. CELCAB does both.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they don't have
don't have
an
a
arm.
fundraising arm.
Well, I guess they would, if they wanted to contribute, they contribute directly to the town then? And the
Yes.
town could put it in a sort of a sub-fund? Okay, just thinking out loud, yeah. Lots of good food for thought.
All right, so then let's do the quarterly, and that would be in October. Is that agreeable with
That's
everyone?
good. That's good.
October 28th,
At 3:00.
October 28th, is that the Thursday?
the fourth Thursday.
Wonderful, at 3 PM. All right, with that done, may I entertain a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Thank you, Sinead. Second, Betty, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned, grab your
Thank
mangoes.
you.
Oh, and you have cookies also from
Cookies
CELCAB.
down there.
Cookies and fruit.
Somebody
Thank
can
you,
take
Seal.
mine too.